computer. Okay. I think we're good.
We're good? Okay. Hi, Janine. Okay. So we'll just go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining today. If you haven't tried chatting in the chat box yet, just go ahead and introduce yourself and have a scroll and look over everyone else who's joined. We're going to introduce ourselves. Connie Davis has chatted in, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself live?
Hi, everybody. I'm fortunate that I know many of you or have reviewed your trainer documents or other things. So my name is Connie Davis. I'm the development lead for CCMI. I'm a retired nurse practitioner, and I spend all of my time now working with CCMI. And I live in Hope, British Columbia, and I'm really glad to be here and learning from you and hoping we can share tips and good ideas with each other.
Thanks, Connie. And I'm Danielle Weeb. I work with CCMI's content experts and help design our workshops, and as well as our online course materials. And I oversee access to your trainer materials and coordinate the community of practices. So basically today what we're going to do is talk about the tech issues that you might face as trainers. And kind of brainstorm together and do what we can to help each other with those kind of things. If anyone's having trouble with audio or hearing, I think there is a way to do subtitles. If you want me to turn on subtitles, let me know and I can try that. That's just a little heads up there. Your GoToMeeting panel, if you haven't figured these things out already, we've got a mute button. They might not all look, your panels might not look all the same, but your mute button will probably look like an old-fashioned microphone. It'll be green if you're unmuted and orange if you're muted. And there's a chat box. If you want to chat, you enter your message there and then press enter. You'll be able to select who you want to chat to, but normally you'll be chatting to everyone, or if you just want to chat to the organizers or myself, you can go ahead and do that as well. If you're calling in by phone, you can use your phone features to mute and unmute yourself. Just don't put us on hold because then we'll hear your elevator music. And sometimes if you're calling in by phone, we aren't able to mute you ourselves, so we might ask you to mute yourselves if you have background noise over on your end. Do you have any questions about the go-to panel or anything like that before we get started? Okay. Then let's go ahead and see what questions you have about technology and training. So that's the topic for today. Go ahead and speak them or chat them in, and we'll set our agenda for the day.
We're here for you, so let us know what you want to talk about.
If you're not sure if it's about technology, go ahead and chat it in anyways.
And if you're on the phone, speak up.
Hi, this is Lee Cameron. I've had a couple kicks at the can with using technology and brief action planning training along with Marcia B. from Northern Health here. And generally there's usually a tiny glitch or whatever during each of the sessions. To me, I think the biggest thing is just kind of getting out front of it, and I just want to be more proficient with like mitigating potential things that could like just try to be really rock solid on the stuff I have to set up and having my ducks in order. That part makes me nervous. Yeah, so I'm really excited about the webinar today and next steps.
Okay. proficient with mitigating the potential things that could happen.
Almost like having like if you're going to fly an airplane, you have your little checklist, things that just like the little things you've got to check off to make sure are done. Things that may be intuitive, but actually may not be intuitive for some of us when we're first coming out of the gate and learning.
Right. You don't know what you don't know.
You got her.
It's Terry Lee here. I haven't actually done a training session. My first one's coming up in September. Other staff members here have done training sessions. And I was just going through and wondering about downloading videos to my laptop rather than trying to secure them off of a Wi-Fi connection. We're doing some hotel sessions, and I'm quite nervous. My first one's in a hotel. And I also know that I have to carry a projector with me, and that makes me concerned and nervous because it's so expensive to rent equipment at hotels. So I'm looking for any kind of hints or value to downloading versus using off of the CCMI website, how others are doing it, and what kind of glitches they run into around that.
Okay. So downloading videos, carrying your own projector, and using the CCMI website, like the Trainer Resources website.
That's right. Should we just be going directly to that, or should we be downloading and the same with the PowerPoints, I guess. But I haven't done it yet, so I'm just looking for other more experienced people who have used the resources.
Right. Okay.
It's Carol. I have found for peace of mind, I've done many reflection planning and choices and changes, that everything is on the computer, on my key. It might not be my computer, it might be someone else's computer, but I have everything on my key so that once I get there, and I always get there about 45 minutes early, so that I test the equipment, I test the sound, and all my, sorry about the clock, and I have all the videos downloaded, so I just toggle between the PowerPoint and the videos, just minimize, and it's very easy. Like that, I have no fear that the internet, I'm not going to have access to the internet or it's going to fail me. I've got it all there. I don't know if that's helpful.
Thanks.
It's Terry, that's very helpful, and I actually think that it might be a good idea for all of our facilitators to have a copy of a key, for us to provide it to them, so that they have their own personal copy that they carry with them to the session.
It's Janine and Kamloops. Can you hear me okay?
I'm getting a little bit of feedback from you. I wonder if you're calling by phone and computer?
Yeah. Oh.
If you could mute your computer, that might stop the feedback.
Thank you. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. When I did it, I wasn't quite sure the best way to do that, either to save your videos somewhere else. So I ended up made a Word document, and then I copy and pasted all of the links to that Word document, but I don't know that that's the easiest way to do it. So maybe a USB is the better way to do it. I'm not sure. I'd be interested in some comments on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have more discussion about everything, and let's just keep some ideas coming. Thanks for sharing, everybody. Other topics?
Yeah, we'll come back to this for sure. Are there any other agenda items to add?
It's Terry Lee here. I'm not sure that this is relevant to this webinar, but I'm getting some requests for leaders and managers to be briefed on the training that their direct care staff are receiving so that they're more able to support them. And I'm wondering if CCMI has some recommendations around what that briefing would look like, or if you have a preset briefing that you could provide to people to use within their organization.
Yeah, we can talk about that too. All right, what else do you guys have?
Well, I would say it's Janine again in Kamloops. A lot of times the technology hasn't really been the issue with the CCMI product, but with our own local service. So I would say if you're I'm in a hospital setting, so fortunately, Bill, the IT guy, and this someone in your area that you can call to get help. I would find out who that person is, because he's just been great to help me out with the first one. I had to go through him. He had to show me how to set up all this stuff because it was in a big theater. But the other two rooms are run quite differently off of iPads, which I had no idea how to do that. So, and then another room I went to was totally different as well. So I as well go early, but maybe other people might have the names of someone in their health authority that can help them out with those things on a short, very short notice.
Thanks. All right, what else have we got? Okay, I'll just show you a list of some other things that we've heard, and then we'll get into kind of brainstorming solutions that you guys have come into for the things that you guys have brought up, first of all. And then if any other issues come up, we'll bring those up as well. So some other things that people have emailed us about or called us about before are issues with PowerPoint, hiding slides, or not being able to see your notes, those kinds of things. Sending online pre-surveys or wanting to send, do the feedback survey online instead of on paper. Printing challenges, or your printing not coming out right at the last minute. Equipment challenges, like with the projectors, or different plugins for projectors or things like that. The trainer resource page, navigating that, or like you were saying about what kind of stuff to download, what kind of stuff just to use directly off the page. Challenges using audio or video in a specific setting, that's a really common one. Sharing digital copies of materials and poor or unreliable internet connections, that's a really big concern, especially if you don't always know what you're walking into, or if we're using different rooms all the time. So I don't know if you guys have a preference for what you guys want to start with. We've got kind of coming up with a checklist or potential things that could happen, which might just happen organically as we discuss things today. Talking about downloading videos or having videos ready, especially if you don't have Wi-Fi. Talking about equipment or carrying a projector, and having resources, using resources, what to download from the website. And we have a couple suggestions about that already. And briefing managers and leaders about the workshop. And then any of these issues here as well. If anyone has a preference, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to start maybe from the top of Terry Lee's list. Okay. Let's talk about downloading videos then. It's something that we get a lot, and one of the suggestions is to download the videos if you don't have a good Wi-Fi connection. And we we can't encourage it because YouTube had a lot of the videos that we get are on YouTube, and they have a policy that you're not allowed to download YouTube videos. So we can't encourage it, but it is possible. And we can leave you to figure that out for yourself. But what are some other things that you could do with videos if you're worried about like not having a poor Wi-Fi connection? Or things that you've tried or had recommended to you in the past? One of the ideas was copying and pasting all the links into a document so you have them all in one place.
It's Connie. One of the things that I try to do is, like, if I'm, going to a room I'm not familiar with, if at all possible, I go there in advance and check out the Wi-Fi. You never know, that day it might be down. And so having a backup plan in mind for, an activity or just skipping it or something that's going to lead to a discussion of that same topic. So I try to have an idea of something else I could do. Like for brief action planning, you can always model it with somebody if you can't show a video, and that's one of the best options to do. Some of them are really hard to substitute because they're affective domain kinds of things.
Any other ideas?
Yeah, this is a really hard one because of the user agreements on things like YouTube.
I'll show you a couple tricks that you might try using. And of course, you would want to test them first just to make sure. So one thing, I don't know if this still works. In the olden days, you could preload videos. So if you opened a YouTube video or videos on other sites, if you had it open for a while before you started playing it, it would kind of preload. You see how the gray bar is already partly open. So I don't know if that would give you a little bit of a head start on a video if you had it open for a while before you started playing it. If you played it through once and then replayed it so that it was fully loaded. That's something I would definitely try out first before you did your workshop to see if it actually works, because I haven't tried that one myself. But it's an idea, something you might be able to try. Another thing would be if you go into the videos in the settings here, you can change the display quality of the video. So this one right now is showing at 480 pixels. And you can take it down a notch. And it doesn't look as good, but it'll load faster. So that's another thing you can try if you don't have a very good internet connection. And the other thing you can try if you have a poor internet connection is to create a hotspot with your phone. And this is something you can do if you have like a good 3G plan. Has anyone created a hotspot with your phone before?
I have.
No, I'm interested how you do that.
Okay. So it might be different on different kinds of phones. I have an iPhone, but what you can do, if you have your phone with you, pick it up now so you can kind of follow along. You'll have like a settings app on your phone. It's usually like a little gear-shaped app. And if you go into there, there should be something that says hotspot. Mine says personal hotspot. And if you go into there, mine has a whole bunch of different instructions in it, and it has like a caveat that additional charges may apply, so that's why you want to have a good 3G plan. But you can basically toggle it on and off. And if you turn on personal hotspot, then on your computer, when you're looking for a Wi-Fi connection, it'll show an additional Wi-Fi connection that's coming from your phone. And you can create a password on it so that nobody else can use your hotspot. And that might create a more reliable internet connection for you if you have a good 3G plan and you have a good 3G connection.
Sorry, I see where the personal hotspot, I turned it on.
Yep.
It says Wi-Fi password, and then it's got like the internet, like the Wi-Fi sign, the Bluetooth, and the US, connect to USB. So
yeah, so those are just instructions at the bottom of how to use the Wi-Fi or the Bluetooth, or if you want to use the hotspot, use the port below. Does that make sense?
So the next thing you do after that is look on your computer under the little Wi-Fi symbol to look for the different networks you could join, and you should see one there that says phone. So on mine, and I'm a Mac user totally, but you can see it there. There'll be a phone option.
Mine says Danielle's iPhone. It's usually like named whatever your phone is named.
And then, so if you're using a computer from your work, I don't know how they set up security on those for like what Wi-Fi, networks you can join. So that might be another thing to talk to your tech people about.
Okay, I'll look into it a little further then.
Yeah, it's a nice option. I have found myself doing that on more than one occasion, using my phone as basically your phone just becomes like in your home where you have your Wi-Fi device.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, kind of like a portable internet connection. Has anyone tried reloading video or changing the video quality and have any experience of whether or not that works?
It's Carol. Yes, I preload all my videos, and they're on my key.
Okay.
USB key, and so they're always there. My presentation is on there. The videos are on there, and I just toggle between the PowerPoint and the videos. So I'm never afraid that I don't go to the internet at all.
Okay, so that's downloading.
It's all downloaded already.
And you all can do that. We just can't recommend it.
Yeah. Any other questions about internet connections or videos before we move on to other items? Okay. Carrying your own projector. Any tips or troubleshooting that you should know about when doing that?
I just have to say I'm very glad I carry my own projector with me, because sometimes it happens. I show up at a venue and I've talked to the tech people before and we think everything's okay, and I get there and it's not okay.
This is Lee, and I'd like to concur. I've been doing these facilitation in different sites now since 2005. I actually keep track. I always work with IT before, and I would say at least 65, if not 70% of the time, I'm glad I'm packing my own projector, because either there's a light burnt, there's always yeah. I pack my own projector now.
Yeah, Lee, likewise, I carry my own speakers.
Yeah, I just can't. I would love to, and I used to think it was just for the rural remote, like in the rural, really far out communities. but I'm actually finding it all over.
And it's nice now. Speakers are so compact. When I first started doing this, I used to have to carry pretty big speakers, but now my speakers are not much bigger than a couple of phones, cellular phones. So that's very nice.
Do you use a Bluetooth speaker, or what kind of speaker do you use?
I am actually using a speaker that plugs in. I have used Bluetooth speakers before, but sometimes the connection, I get a little nervous about the connection, and maybe I should get over that, because I have used a Bluetooth speaker, and right now I'm using some that have a plug into my computer. I'd be curious about other people, what kind of speakers they're using.
Carol, again, just little speakers that plug in as well on my computer. Very light. I always carry them, as well as my pointer. Always carry it, because other pointers sometimes don't work. The batteries are dead, so I always carry my own with a new set of batteries.
Yes, spare batteries. Yes, got those too.
And what are some of the things you've run into when you don't have your own projector, just so people kind of understand? Like, what are some of the problems you can run into and how you might be able to troubleshoot them if you don't have your own projector?
Number one, up until about a couple of years ago, was burnt out bulbs and actually projectors that actually don't work. Another thing is showing up and it's been reserved and nobody knows where it is. So 3 things. Not working, generally a burnt out bulb, and lots of times not there, or it's there and it's not compatible with your laptop, like with, yeah.
This is a pet peeve. It's not really a technical problem, but when you get there and the projector projects the colors so badly, you can't even see the stuff. I hate that.
A technical thing too, I've also heard, this may be a health authority thing, say there's been a recent refresh, say you're a health authority employee and you've got your laptop and everything's been refreshed, but lots of times you'll go to a community and there might be one projector in the entire community that might not be registered for that site, and like I said, they're not compatible yet. That's something we ran into a lot about 18 months ago here.
Mm.
This kind of gets back to, I think it was maybe Lee, Terry Lee, who asked about a checklist. My checklist right now is the training plan, because on the training plan it reminds you of all the things you need to bring, and it in the preparation it lets you know to check check where the washrooms are, and check your projector and check your sound. So I use this as my checklist.
This one, Connie?
Yeah, that's my checklist.
So are you saying you just like look for all the supplies?
Yeah, if I look through that column before I start to see if I'm on track. I've got the stuff, and I run through the stuff it says up there in preparation.
Oh, and here too.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay. All right. Another one was using CCMI, the CCMI resources website, and what to download. So some people have already said they just download everything and have it on a key drive, which is a great idea.
Oh, so let's see, most of you are BAP trainers, is that right? Any foundations of MI trainers?
Yeah, I'm an MI trainer, Terry Lee here.
Okay, Terry Lee. So, because Terry Lee says we're just moving the brief action planning trainers to this website, so this might be kind of new for some of them, right, Danielle?
Yeah, just today I sent the emails out.
Woo!
Guys, And a few people have are more familiar with it. But let's see. So this is the content page here. There's the trainer material use agreement, which you'll have to go through first before you can access the materials if it's your first time. And then all the materials are here. I personally would definitely download the PowerPoint because it's a big file, and if you have it on a key drive or on cloud or directly on your computer, it'll just be more reliable, I think.
Shirley here,
Yeah.
it's Shirley here. I misunderstood the comment about, so now BAP is on it as well as MI is on the
If you're an MI
website?
trainer, you'll have access to the MI trainer materials, and if you're a BAP trainer, you'll have access to BAP trainer materials.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you're an MI trainer, your page it also has BAP materials in it, so you don't need two separate pages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, wrong place. And then the BAP one just has the BAP materials on it. I don't know. What else do you guys have on your key drives? Those of you, do you have like handouts and stuff on there as well? Or do you just have that stuff printed?
It's Carol. I have everything on my drive, as well as I can access it, of course, when I'm at home through the web. But I actually have everything on my USB key.
Okay.
That makes sense, because if you get there and some handout got missed, you can sometimes hand it off to somebody and get it printed while you get started.
Are there any other questions about the resources site?
We're pretty excited about it because it gives us a really nice way to update information, and there's some other features that we'll likely be using on the LMS site later. So some things to look forward to.
Yeah.
LMS stands for Learning Management System.
Yeah, LMS, Learning Management System. And eventually we'll be able to put all your archived community of practice recordings, like this recording, onto here as well. So you'll have kind of like a one-stop shop. So next thing on my list was briefing leaders and managers about workshops that their
Is there a successful
employees are
start document in there?
I don't know if it's on the BAP page yet.
That would be a good thing to put there.
I just moved. Yes. But it is on the MI one, so I'll show you it over there.
I'm so glad. I was so glad when I heard this this request that you're getting from leaders and managers that they want to be briefed. That is awesome. So when we brief people, we'll often show them the agenda, which has the learning objectives on it, and then we have the successful start document that we give them before they even invite people to the workshop. Because you may remember from your trainer workshop, one of the predictors of being able to apply the skills in practice, the most powerful predictors two of them are in the hands of the leaders. And so we have a PDF document. I just saw it up there, successful start document. And we give that to leaders well in advance of the workshop, because it reviews some things that they can do to support the learning of the participants. And so I was curious if this would be the kind of thing that might be helpful for you all. And we'll add it to the BAP page as well.
Better make a note.
It's Terry Lee. This one was mine. This was very helpful conversation. The other question I have, and that we're beginning to talk about, is measuring sustainability and, I guess, effectiveness or impact, rather, of the training. So specifically with the MI, I'm wondering if you have any organizations that are that have a sustainability framework that they've set up within the program. So part of it is leadership support, of course. And then we're thinking about doing some, self-assessment, have staff do self-assessment of interactions they have with clients, and perhaps utilize client feedback in the moment as well. So I don't know if there's anyone else who's working on sustainability measurements and plans following training.
It would be really lovely to hear from the group, and then we can show you a tool that's on our website that might be useful to you. And I know Lori Godin has some experience with sustainability and building training skills in, and I'm curious if Natasha and some of the, from the Ontario perspective, Carol or Natasha have ideas as well. And we can also tell you, and Northern Health has been really working hard on sustainability for MI. But Lori or Natasha or Carol? Or anyone else?
It's Janine in Kamloops, and I know that's a big part of what the regional lead, Susie Wilkinson, is looking at all of that as well. But we're just getting going, so.
Yeah, good time to be thinking about it.
Yeah, so are we.
I don't know if Lori.
This is
Good, thank you.
Yeah, hi, Connie. Yeah, I was on mute and talking. Yeah, so my experience was at Fraser Health, and we had built in quite a few different ways to measure. And one of the ones that we found that was pretty concrete was asking anybody that had done the training a survey after a month, and then again at 6 months. And it had questions in there such as, I use this every day in my practice, strongly disagree. And I can't remember all the questions anymore, but it really gave us a good sense of who was using it within their practice. We checked for confidence, whether they were using it, and then we had narrative stuff, what they were noticing about it. And then we also tracked all the people that we trained internally within Fraser Health, and that also helped us get a sense of spread. And I left almost 3 years ago now, and we were well over like 300 people that had been trained, and starting to see a tipping point starting to happen within the organization. And then the other thing that we did some videos of actual clients or patients or people that we worked with to get their stories, to hear their stories. And that was really effective to help get it out there to everybody, not just frontline staff, but directors and managers as well. So I think it's whatever organization you're in, taking a look at what is it that you want to measure, and then looking at the how, and then starting out really small and for the lack of a better word, simple. Just keep it simple. If you're going to do a survey, keep it short. You can also do interviews with clients or patients and or clinicians that have had success stories. We also did some videos of clinicians that had success stories. And so that really helped with the spread. And at the same time, it was a bit of measurement of how it was going for people.
I don't know if people have questions or if that was helpful.
And Lori, if I remember right, some of this was getting built into orientation and performance reviews, et cetera. Is that right?
Yeah, thanks, Connie. Wasn't sure how much detail. So all of the self-management support stuff, but at that time was around BAP and some skills of MI were taught to everybody across, didn't matter if OT, PT, nurses, it was part of their orientation. And then there was documentation that was set up in, it was still paper at that point, but they were looking at putting it into their electronic medical record to make it easy for people to document on any plans or conversations they had. And the other thing that we did is so this is mainly out in the community at this point, each office had either a clinical nurse educator or some sort of educator lead role. And they would check in with people that had been at the trainings and talk to them about it, ask them how they were going, how it was going for them, and, around to help support them and help them apply it to practice. And additionally, we took the BAP skills checklist, modified it a bit, and had it so that the clinicians themselves could actually track their own use of it. And they used what went well and what they might do differently next time. And that was really helpful for the frontline staff to be able to have that with them. Oh, and also we did little cards that were the same size as their person's ID, so it could just hang on the tag with their ID, and it had the steps of BAP, the ask, tell, ask. So just in very brief messaging, so that it was easy for them to have it with them, and if they wanted to refer to it, they could.
Thank you. I see Natasha's chatted in as well. And then I think Danielle's on the website to show you a tool that you can find.
Yeah, so this is just on our main website on the quality improvement page. We just have a resource package for quality improvement staff. I think this was actually, there was a link to this in the last newsletter, I think.
So this is the document that's...
So it's got... Yeah, go for it, Connie.
Sure. This is a document that several of us created, and Danielle lended her beautiful editing skills and nice diagramming skills. It's based on Kirkpatrick with some additions from Phillips. And this is a way that many people think about am I getting a return on my investment in training? That was Phillips's contribution to this. So the first level of evaluation is, are learners happy with what the training was? And we usually do that as an exit survey. And then the learning is, did it actually result in a transfer of knowledge or skills? So when we do like a BAP certification, then we know that at that point in time, the person could demonstrate the skill. And so Lori was talking about ongoing use of the skills checklist, which is actually the next level. So behavior, did it actually change the learner's behavior? Did they start to use those skills regularly in their work? So Lori's program was at that level of evaluation. And then if you move up, the next level is results. Does what I'm doing actually result in an impact on performance? And this gets really tricky because there's so many influences. It depends on what you want to measure as performance. If you're expecting your BAP training to have an impact on people's blood sugar control, for example, we all know there are many factors that would play into that. So you might think about results being more on the realm of, are our patients or clients more engaged and retained in services? So are we having fewer people do no-shows? Do we have happier people who maintain relationships? And then the confidence question is always a good one. And there's samples of all of those kinds of things in this 26-page document. Lots of stuff.
Yeah, so you've got like all your links here based on evaluation instrument, and then some actual handouts as well.
So lots of ideas there. And if any of you want to have further conversations about it, the folks here at CCMI would be happy to talk to you about different ideas for how you can measure the impact of your program, because that's where we're all there. There's a new Tina Clark, one of our quality improvement people, has been talking us to instead of ROI, considering it ROE, return on expectation. Did what you expected to have happen as a result of the workshop. One of the interesting things about skill building workshops is they're also good for retention of staff. Because when, I mean, you all know, I think from your own perspective, people invest in you. If your leaders invest in you and in education for you, you're more likely to be happy with your workplace. And so one of the pleasant side effects of investing in this kind of training is that people often stay in their jobs longer. It's back to that main question. What are you trying to accomplish with your workshop? Is that helpful for folks?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, it is for me. It's Charlie here. This is very helpful.
All right. So what questions did I miss? I've come into my list here. Let me know if I've missed anything or if you want to add anything to our agenda. We've got 10 minutes left. There's some things here. You want to address any of these?
Maybe we didn't talk about sharing digital copies of materials, like what can people share digitally, like send as a PDF to others or that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Basically, our rule of thumb for sharing digital copies is you have access to digital copies of everything on the trainer materials site. But the rule of thumb for you sharing digital copies with other people is if it's on our website, here. So at the bottom of all the different content areas, if you schedule to the bottom, a lot of them have like a handouts section. Here. So you'll see the guide and flowchart are on our website. I think the worksheets on our website, and you'll see other different materials on different pages. If it's there, go ahead and share it. But if it's not there, then we prefer that you don't share digital copies, just digital copies with people.
Most of the key stuff is on the website. So Ask, Tell, Ask handout, which is my all-time favorite handout, is there. There's also an Ask, Tell, Ask skills checklist. So there's some other things, and some of those are on the a different page. You might not find them on the BAP page, but they're on the brief interventions page.
Oh yeah, brief interventions, right. And then, yeah, so there's different stuff on all the pages. What else?
Sorry, here. So I would assume when we're training staff members in MI, then it would be a good idea to show them the web page and the resources that are open to the public that they can look at, download, and so on.
Yes.
Like the Ask, Tell, Ask, and things like that.
Yes.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about sending online surveys. I don't know if that's something you want to use our last 5 minutes for, if you want to head out.
Does anybody think they have the capacity to do anything online, or will the paper be the way they need to do stuff? And Natasha might be interested in what we've been doing. So
Yeah, so
go for it, Danielle.
So what we've been doing just recently we've switched over to doing our daily and final day workshop surveys through SurveyMonkey. And what we do is we create a handout for everyone, and it's got a QR code, which is just a code that people scan with their phone. And so people bring up their survey, the same one that you guys are doing by paper right now. It brings it up on their phone, and they answer all the questions there, and it brings it back to us in SurveyMonkey here. And we can print out reports more easily that way, and we can amalgamate all the different data that we get from all the different workshops a lot more easily, and instead of transcribing everything word for word, all our open text questions are all there digitally instead of transcribing them as well. And basically what you do is, so SurveyMonkey, you can get a free account. So that's why we use it, but there's lots of other survey platforms on here. And you can just log in and go to create a survey. There's lots of different kinds of questions that you can create in here. You can do multiple choice, you can do sliding scale questions, you can do open text questions. And I probably don't have time to show you how to do all of them. Do you do any post survey evaluations? We used to, but we found that we didn't get any responses to them. So sometimes on a project by project basis, we'll do a 3-month post survey. And I think there is a copy of questions in here. Is there, Connie?
I think there is. That's a really good question, Natasha. Yeah, we were getting such a low response rate that it wasn't turning out to be a good use of our admin team's time. But in some projects, it works really well. If you have a really engaged leader who's sending out the survey, that helps. Or we do some research projects. There's some BAP research projects happening right now, and those people are really engaged, so they will do surveys for us. And I think Lori's strategy of working it into people's job performance and stuff like that is maybe more effective than somebody like us from the outside trying to do it. I think if it happens within the frame of people's work, it's much more successful. We come across as like an external entity, and if I'm really busy, why would I do their survey for them? It doesn't seem to have a purpose.
Yeah, so here's a sample of the there. So we had a BAP workshop post survey. And so it has a lot of questions that you might not need in yours about different roles and stuff like that. If you have a lot of similar roles in your workshop, you can cut down on the questions probably a lot. So it gives an indication of what they think that they learned in their workshop, whether they think their expectations were met. We also asked about whether or not they attended practice and feedback, because that was something that we were really interested in. But you, of course, can adjust questions or do your own questions based on what you want to learn. And we, of course, use the Kirkpatrick model to develop our questions.
Mm-hmm. And this is Lori again. We did use the monkey survey internally within Fraser Health, and it worked really well. We had really good response rate, and it came internally, just as you guys were alluding to. Like, it wasn't CCMI or somebody external. It was coming from inside, and we would send it out through the managers to the different areas.
Yeah. And the good thing about this is you can create a template in here and just copy it. So you don't have to create a new survey every time. So that's one of the features that we really like.
Danielle, do you know if there's a way we could share our template if anybody else wants to use it?
That I don't know. Janet might know how to do that. I don't think she's
on about that, or at least we can share with you how we've done it, so then you won't have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I was the first person to test using the QR code and the link. There's also a link, and I had in all the workshops when I did it that way, there would usually be one person who wouldn't fill it out, which is in most when I do paper surveys, there's usually 3 or 4 people who don't fill it out, so we were getting better response rate.
Okay, thanks, Natasha. They're gonna piloting doing a post BAP practice and feedback survey.
Yeah, Deb says because we're looking for results, we've actually gotten permission to use SurveyMonkey, and it has to do with how you there's a way that you can actually work around it.
All right. So we're at 1 o'clock. So we won't add any more content. I'll stay on for a few more minutes in case anyone has any questions that they want to add. But otherwise, you guys are free to go. And I just want to thank you all for joining and participating today. That was it's really great to have you all and to hear all your questions and have you engaged.
Thank you.
Very much.
Thank you. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Danielle and Colin, for leading this.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
you.